He was one of the first players out there, and as soon as he saw him, you see him jump and scream something. They caught it on camera. Yeah. Then he starts seeing Stephon Diggs crying, Josh Allen crying, Joe Burrow crying, the whole team starting to cry. White is in somebody's chest. Tre'Davious White is in an offensive lineman's chest like this. You could see that this was being treated as something vastly different than anything we could have guessed it was. Then they go to another commercial break, and the whole world is wondering what happened, what could have happened. Twitter starts to speculate. Fans that were in the stadium, Paycor Stadium, they start putting out videos of what they're seeing. And we're starting to get glimpses of obvious CPR taking place. We come back to the game. Joe Buck says, I'm just going to explain what I've seen for the last 9 minutes. They've been performing CPR. I think there was even a mention about how hard they were doing the CPR on Harlan's chest. And at that moment, whenever we got almost, I don't want to say matter-of-factly told, everybody's worst fear came right to the tip of their tongue. Mm-hmm. Did we just watch a guy die on Monday Night Football playing the sport that we love in what appears to be a routine tackle? And for that, we were heartbroken. I was fucking shook. I was getting text messages from so many different players that were just like, hey, man, this got me fucked up. I'm like, yeah, man,
Mm-hmm.
me too. Yeah. Pretty fucked up here watching this. Because you immediately go to, that could have been any of my friends that I played football alongside, both in the NFL, college, and even high school. Yep. Almost. That hit happens, no shit, 60 times a game, 50 times a game.
For sure.
So for that to happen, you immediately put everything into perspective. This Harlan guy was doing everything right, flying to the ball, making a tackle, making a play in a massive game. And now we're being told pretty much, now we're being told that this dude is pretty much gonna die here. It was a wild emotional journey for all of us. And with the world that we live in, we were able to get reports from people throughout the evening. Obviously, I watched all the way through. Scott Van Pelt and Ryan Clark was on there, and I thought for the situation it was, I thought they handled it very, very well. I was watching at home just thinking, like, if I was in that situation, I don't think I would have been able to. I was speechless. I was up till like 2, 3 a.m. now. Is that because I'm coming from the Rose Bowl and my time clock's fucked? Maybe, but I don't think it had anything to do with just the thoughts running through my mind about the sport that we love. Then through the night, we hear that Damar Hamlin is maybe a little bit stable. Vitals back, we're hearing now. And then we're hearing that he's in critical condition. Then Dahn Rooney, I believe, Jordon Rooney from Pittsburgh is his marketing guy. He puts out a tweet that's like, hey, seemingly optimistic, seemingly positive. He was on Good Morning America or the Today Show this morning, seemingly optimistic. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of sources telling us like there's a lot of reports coming out that seem to be optimistic.
Yeah.
I don't know what optimistic means, though. I don't know how long you can have CPR happening on your body, how long you can not have air going to your brain. We have no idea what a good outcome is, but it's seemingly positive information coming out, but we have no idea what's real and what's not. So Damar Hamlin will be chatted about by everybody today. Everybody on earth is praying for this dude, positive thoughts, positive vibes, trying to send over to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. We'll have Rappaport joining us in 10 minutes and 20 seconds to see what he has, what updates he has happening to him. But this is a scary situation, had me shook, still has me fucked up, and obviously I'm not the only one. The whole world, the whole Monday Night Football, prime time, on the biggest day on ESPN, right? It was being talked about as the biggest day on ESPN, especially after the weekend that it was. It was scary. As a man who was forced to retire out of nowhere for a spinal contusion, we understand that injuries can happen. That one, what was it? Cardio cordis?
Cordis or corditis? It was
cordis, I think.
Cordis, yeah.
I forget the name.
Colosio or something.
Collodio? I think it has one T, maybe Colosio cordis. It is normally in hockey and baseball, and I heard about this as a kid because Tone Diggs and I's gym teacher, Mr. Jack, was his name. Son played hockey in Michigan for B-League hockey up in Michigan, and one of his teammates, and I remember this in like 5th grade, Mr. Jack had to miss some time because he had to go to a funeral in Michigan. Kid took a hockey puck right to his chest. they, at the time, I think whenever we were in 5th grade, didn't know as much about Colotio cordis, I believe is what Zito just told me. Commotio cordis was just told in my ear. So he passed away, heard about that, knew that it existed. Happens in baseball, I guess, as well, can happen. But they call it a phenomenon that very rarely takes place. I don't know how it hasn't happened in the NFL more. I think we're very lucky for that. But nobody thinks about that whenever you're getting on a field for a big game. No family that travels in to watch it is thinking about that. No players are thinking about that. And I think that's why we're all fucked up last night. I think, honestly, I believe that was the case.
That was the scariest scene I've ever seen.
Yes.
On a football field. I mean, it was. I'm on a plane flying here, and I'm watching this thing, and I'm just like you guys were. I mean, I had no words. I was prayers, thoughts, everything going out, and just hoping for something good to come out of this. But I mean, the longer that went, and the more this thing dragged on, it's like it was so tough. I mean, I can't imagine what his family's going through right now. It's so tough.
Yeah, it's obviously unexpected, comes out of nowhere, puts life into perspective very quickly. And if you think about the Buffalo Bills team, that locker room, I have no idea. Yeah. I have no clue how McDermott will now face, and obviously we will hear about Hamlin's status here in about 8 minutes. Who knows if Rappaport knows anything? There's been a lot of people reporting things.
Yeah.
A lot of things being reported, and then a lot of people hearing what people are hearing, and then piecing reports together. They're also reporting things. So we don't know what's real, what isn't. Don't love it, by the way.
No.
Don't love that at all. I think we all spent the evening kind of surfing, seeing if we can get updates, watching. It was a moment we'll remember. That was a moment.
Oh yeah.
That we will remember for the rest of our lives. But Coach McDermott now going forward, so he's obviously being a coach involves being a psychologist. He's going to have to be a PTSD expert because, that is a very traumatic thing that happened feet in front of his entire team to one of their brothers, one of their family members. I don't know how the Buffalo Bills are week 17 too. Big games happening right in front. I have no idea how they rally. I assume they'll be able to do so because they're a great organization. And what we're hearing, allegedly, once again, we have no idea what's real. Seems like there is more optimistic reports coming out about Damar Hamlin right now than what it was maybe 12 hours ago, which is great news. But that was a bananas evening, and I have no idea how I would have acted in the moment. I have no clue what would have taken.
No, and to your point, that's why it's so tough, because a lot of times when and again, nothing like this has. I mean, you guys would probably, but I don't think this has ever happened. I've never witnessed something like that in a football game ever. Like it may have happened, way back when, where something happens with a guy's heart or whatever. But most of the time, when people are speculating, it's whether or not he got a concussion or it's neck stuff. It's like then last night this happens, and you have all these people. I mean, we're talking life and death here. Like it's. So, like, the speculation, and it's impossible to really know who knows what, because a lot of people who aren't medical professionals are the ones that are kind of giving their opinions. And I think Ryan Clark mentioned it with Scott Van Pelt. Like, you just kind of forget, I mean, and again, for you guys, like, it would make sense why it kind of, because, like you said, Pat, like, I've made a tackle like that before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't tackle people as anywhere near as much as everybody else. That was a pretty...
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
Yes. So maybe not even just me, but like as soon as that happened, I just thought, like I think I saw that tackle happen maybe 10 times in my head to like 10 of my friends, like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, that could have happened at any, that's basically what they're saying about commotio cordis is like, this could happen. Happens very rarely. That could happen out of nowhere. And it's like, this dude's 24.
Yeah.
Incredible shape.
Right.
Doing everything right.
Yeah.
Right? Raising money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, his toy
Toys
drive. Yeah.
From McKees Rocks in Pittsburgh, which we got nothing but love for, and I think that's up over $3 million now. Original goal was for $2,500. So the world and Bills Mafia came together to support this guy who we didn't know a lot about. I don't think a lot of people did. Last night, a lot of people learned a lot about him, and the only thing we hope to learn is that he's going to be back. But there was moments there last night where it was like, this dude just passed away on
Yeah.
It was last night was one of the craziest That was one of the craziest nights of all time
Yeah.
in the sports world for sure.
It was chilling, like just to watch. And I mean, I'm with Ty. I think we all are. Like, never seen that in football and any other sport. But we also talked about too, like the way that Taylor and McDermott like handled that whole entire situation. I don't know if you could have handled it better, just because obviously for the Bills they're very emotional, the Bengals they're very emotional, and I think you mentioned kind of in the moment you almost see McDermott realize like, okay, I need to like.
There's a lot going on.
Not only be the leader of this team, but kind of bring everybody together. And then, the way that they kind of met and had a conversation about like, hey, obviously this is not something that we can just warm up in 5 minutes and get back on the field and go into the locker rooms and then the phone call. Like, it felt like both Taylor and McDermott handled it as best as they could.
Yeah, some great leadership being displayed by both of them. And obviously Zach Taylor, I think, is doing a lot of like, hey man, what are you? You know? And that's I think that was big.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that's a big moment for both teams to see that. Obviously, the Bengals going out there and consoling the Bills also so fucking cool. And I think that was the overwhelming narrative of all the texts last night from all the former players that were texting me. I got a text from a couple guys I haven't talked to on a text, I don't think, ever last night. Like, dude, could you imagine? And I'm like, no. And I think that's why it was all such. In McDermott and Taylor, the way they handled it, obviously for the good of their team,
Yeah.
for the good of their men.